Hello, Gore.
Hello, Jim.
Hello, Pilar and Mariana. Gore, we need some bodies in Saladana. Why don't you run to Saladana?
Yeah.
Take a space.
I know. I couldn't make it to physically because I have to do something right after I finish here at home.
Okay. I hope it's not because everybody's sick. Are a lot of people sick or?
Well, we do hear anecdotally that a lot of people are getting infected. Whether they actually become sick, we don't know, but they have to be confined. That could account for the drop.
Yeah. Huh. I feel bad for Martina. She's there all by herself. Oh, there she goes. Looks like the bell rang. Good.
Yeah. I think few people will turn up, I'm sure.
This every year, this is our, I guess, 6th year for around the new year. The first Sunday, not so many, but the second and third and fourth, many, and then it drops off as the year goes on. But the first Sunday, not so many. People are still on holiday, I guess.
Yeah, particularly in Spain, nothing really happens until the 6th, after the 6th.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to turn this off.
So, Jim.
Yeah.
People are here. They were just waiting in front of the door. So.
Because the bell isn't working, or?
Give us a few minutes, and then I think like 5 or 6 people were waiting. I don't know.
Oh dear. Was the bell not working, Martina, or?
I think it was working. Okay, I'm gonna make sure that everybody knows what to do.
I don't like this view. I only see feet.
Oh, sorry.
Show the Buddha if you get up. Hello, Nacho. Feliz año. Hello, Denise. I see you're joined us. Some reason our wide angle lens is not very wide.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Are you using your usual computer, Martina?
No, that's a different computer. That's a Mac. Oh. So I normally use my Windows device, and this is a Mac.
Yeah, my Mac, depending on which one, but it adapted to that camera quite well. And then you tried adjusting the lens, right?
The lens, let's see.
I think it turns, like you can old-fashioned turn it so that it adjusts the angle. No, that just seems to be focusing it. Okay. Where's Carlos when you need him? There's Carlos. Carlos, we're having technical difficulties. Hello, Carlos.
I know, but I'm not familiar with the Mac. I know on a PC, on a Windows PC, in Zoom, you need to set the HD setting for high definition. Then it'll open the wide angle.
I think that's the same. Here, let me look on my Mac. Oops, I don't want to look at that. See, video settings. Yeah, video settings. Oh, yeah, Martina?
Yes.
That might be the deal. If you go on Zoom to the video settings. So right next to stop video, hit that little arrow. Video settings.
Just a second.
There we go. Do, 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 do. Thank you,
Okay.
Carlos.
Welcome.
I'm telling you, Carlos, if you ever find another Sangha, we'll be in deep trouble.
I'm happy here.
Oh, good. We're happy that you're happy.
Ah, yes.
Hello, Emilio, welcome.
Thank you.
Is anyone like a Mac user here? Because I'm really not.
No, but you're good, Martina, you're good. You're super.
No.
Nada más. Yesta. Parfait. How do you say perfect in Polish? Perfect.
Volver a Zoom. Volver a Zoom. Es que no sé dónde está aquí.
No, pero Martina, oh, de mi perspectiva está perfecta.
Yeah, but our is not.
I guess
Oh,
they're not
okay.
seeing you.
Oh, I see, I see, I see.
We can't see you.
You probably just need to pin me. Pin my image in the Zoom.
No. Yeah, just a second. I'm sure we will figure it out.
While you're figuring out, I'm gonna get our timer ready.
Yes. Yay! Okay, we're ready. So that's.
I think I'm gonna pin you guys. Okay, well, welcome to the first Saladana English Sangha in the year 2022. Oh, Nacho, it's too dark. Demasiado oscuro para mí. Es mejor. Okay. ¿Está bien? Okay. Thank you. So, yeah, our first Sunday Sangha, good way to start off the new year. I'm aware of a couple US-based groups that are actually doing like meditation pledges for 2022, 60 days, 90 days, 30 days. I'm tempted to put that out to our group. Maybe we can have a little vote as to what would be a doable number, but even 5 minutes a day just creates a practice, right? It creates a habit. It creates that momentum. And today, after we meditate, we're going to talk about the 7 factors of awakening, and we're going to talk about the 5th factor, or no, the 6th factor, which is samadhi, often translated as calm concentration or stillness. And just to put out there that this Buddhism, and maybe a little bit Hinduism as well, the Eastern religions, but especially Buddhism, I think is the only kind of religious, if you want to call it that, spiritual practice that really emphasizes concentration. I think it shows up in 6 of the major lists of teachings by the Buddha, including the Noble Eightfold Path. The 7 factors of awakening, the 5 spiritual factors. It's fundamental in our practice. And it's not the kind of concentration that maybe we learned in school or our parents told us. It's not at all an effortful, concentrate type of action. It's a relaxed, calm, almost effortless concentration, a unification of the mind with very little effort. It's more of a letting go, letting go, letting go, relax, relax, relax with one object. Or as we do normally, or a continuity of objects, continuity of mindfulness. And for me, it's been so fundamental because I was a very distracted person. If I was born 20 years later, they probably would have said I had whatever they call it, ADHD, something like that. Probably would have given me medicine or something because I was just everywhere, you know. And so to practice concentrating and to be able to concentrate now when I want to, oh, what a relief. What a relief. Especially because most of the distractions are not that pleasant, at least not in my brain, not in my head. Anyway, so for our meditation, which we will do for 30 minutes or so, a little more, we always, at least for the last years, during COVID, I guess, we have really focused on what we call samatha. That's a much broader term. Maybe we could even call it samadhi practice, where we are going to just keep coming back to our object and trying to get a little continuity with it, a little time with it, a little, you might call it concentration. And we adjust the amount of effort. If we get too tense, if we start to tire out, then we relax, we let it go. If our mind drifts off easily, then maybe we need a little more effort. Keep coming back to the object. And the object can be your posture, it could be your breath, it could be sounds. It really doesn't matter what your object is, something you find pleasant. Historically or typically, it's the breath or the body. So unless there's some questions, any questions? Doubts? Okay. So we will practice for 30 minutes. At about the 20-minute mark, I'm going to change the instructions just a little bit to a more open awareness, to a type of Vipassana insight meditation. And I don't have my bell with me. I'm in a motel in Oceanside, California. So I'm going to let my new iPhone 3 do the ringing. There we go. That was the starting bell. So, first step, Carmen, is to find and establish a comfortable posture. And one that is, you could say, dignified, respectful of not only the practice, but of yourself and of your body, this vessel that we have been blessed to inhabit for this lifetime. So with the back straight, the head ever so slightly tilted forward to open up the vertebrae in the back, but also to have a humble gesture as well. So let's find our body with our attention, feeling it, experiencing it. So we just bring our awareness to the physical form. Maybe you could do that scanning from one end of the body to the other, or enveloping the whole posture, the whole body, noticing any sensations, not clinging to them, not attaching to them in any way, but just noticing. Maybe a little tingling, currents of energy, maybe pressure, heat, coolness, weight. You find over time what your body seems to offer. You just feel that, experience it, creating an embodied presence. And so this posture, this body sitting, makes a very good anchor or object for your attention. It can calm the mind, unify the mind, concentrate the mind. And when thoughts arise, when the mind gets distracted, gets pulled away, when we notice that, we just come back to inhabiting the body, feeling the body. Again and again. Or you can be more narrowly focused with the breath. So here we want to pick a spot, or you can follow the whole breath, the whole path, but maybe you follow it in the belly, the movement of the belly, the chest, or the nostrils. Or you can follow its journey, or the rhythm of breathing can be very nice. And if neither the body nor the breath is easy for you today, if it's unpleasant, try listening, hearing, a very receptive anchor where we just wait for sounds to come to us. But pick one and just keep coming back to it, seeing if you can relax into it, if you can stay with it in a relaxed way by continuing to let go. Even when the urge to think or worry or plan or whatever comes up, or scratch or move, just try to ignore that or let that go and just stay with your anchor. But not if it creates tension. And not, hopefully, if it creates judgment or criticism. Let that stay outside on the street. Kindness, curiosity, allowing, these are the characteristics we want to cultivate. So I'll be quiet for a while. We'll just practice coming back and staying with our object, with our anchor. if your mind is very attached to some story or plan or memory or whatever, you can try using labels to track your experience. Wholesome use of words. So you could just say, thinking, thinking, when you notice you're thinking. And then if you're using the breath, you can say, inhaling, exhaling, or with the body, feeling, feeling, sounds, hearing, hearing. Just using labels to keep you connected to your present moment experience until they no longer serve. You can let them go. And if you get stuck in thought again, you can reuse them. They're always there. You can take advantage of them at any time. Much like the new year as a symbol of new beginnings, a chance to start again, so is every breath, every moment. So even if we've been lost in thought this entire time, in this moment, we can be present, we can be connected to our bodies, to our breath, to our present moment experience. Again and again, we can start again. So hopefully the mind is a little more concentrated, centered. And if you want to try a form of Vipassana, or maybe better said, a more open awareness, choiceless awareness, it's sometimes called. You just let whatever calls your attention strongest be your new anchor. And then just stay with it until something else calls your attention, which could be thoughts, but might be sounds, sensations, pain even, or could be the breath. So rather than being mindful of the same object again and again, in this case, we're mindful of a continuity of objects. We have continuity of mindfulness. Going from object to object, just staying with them as long as they keep our attention, keep our interest. Again, still relaxing into each one, maybe even being more receptive, letting phenomena decide. No decisions to be made. Just whatever calls our attention, we pay attention to that. So, no matter how your meditation has gone, is now in the past. And let's end our meditation, our formal practice, with a little bit of metta, loving kindness, goodwill, and even a bit of mudita towards ourself, gratitude practice. So what I often offer is that we come back to the body. So bringing the attention back to the physical form, the posture, regrounding the attention, establishing the attention into the body. Feeling it, maybe noticing any differences, changes. And then bringing your attention to your heart space, chest area, feeling that area. And then thanking yourself mentally for your practice, the goodness of your practice, the fact that you've chosen to spend this first Sunday of 2022 taking care of yourself, connecting with yourself, and connecting to Sangha, community. And then taking that gratitude, that appreciation, and extending it out, imagining that it can just radiate out in all directions, thanking those on this call or in Saladana or on YouTube following. Thank them for their support, their practice, the goodness of their practice. And then sending this goodwill out in all directions, touching all of life, wishing the best for all beings, all life forms, our planet. And then when you hear the sound of the bell, which I believe will just be one ring coming from my phone, just noticing, as always, what comes up in the mind or in the body. Well, thank you all for practicing with me on this first Sunday. And even though you're just little squares in my computer screen, it's still better than nothing. As many of you know, I've been in California visiting my family and in part doing what I think is right, visiting my mother, which probably shouldn't say this since this is a recorded call, but can be challenging. It can be challenging. And it's funny, I've been reading alongside a little bit, not every day, but many days, this book that one of my teachers, Martin Allward, from the Milan de Chave in Southwest France, he just wrote this book called Awakening Where You Are. Awakening Where You Are. Very beautiful book, I have to admit. For a fairly young fella, he's pretty wise. But he does have a section in there where he talks about getting older and about how if we don't work on ourselves, right? If we don't have a practice, a meditation practice, if we don't have an intention to try to see things clearly, the bad habits just keep getting reinforced and then magnified. And even my brothers agree that it's like my mother is more difficult than ever. You know, she's more critical, more judgmental, more unsatisfied than ever. And it's sad, but it seems to be quite true. So the message in that is not to abandon your practice, stay with your practice, because the other side is true, right? We can cultivate positive habits, wholesome habits, helpful habits. You know, we don't have to just be living in a sleep, a dream where we're in denial or unconscious to our ways. We don't have to live like that. We can live in an awake fashion. You know, maybe not all the time. You know, and that's really what concentration is about. It's like in the Buddhist philosophy point of view, in order to awaken, which awaken really means to let go of all attachments, all expectations, to be satisfied in whatever moment with whatever arises. Right? Okay, that would be maybe my definition, but probably a pretty close definition of awakening, or sometimes we call it enlightenment, nibbana. Nirvana in Sanskrit, nibbana in Pali, is to be free, okay, from suffering. And suffering comes from our attachments, comes from our wanting things to be different than they are. And in the Buddhist view, in order to realize that, we need to have a certain amount of clarity, Vipassana. That's Vipassana basically means, in English, it means like insight. And it's not insight into the mundane things so much as it's insight into the true characteristics of all phenomena. And that is that they're impermanent, that they're not satisfying forever and ever, and that they're not personal. There's not self. They're impersonal. And it's not a mental insight. It's an experiential insight where you just feel it. It's like, boom, you get it at a cellular level, let's say. And in order to have that, you can accidentally, fall into it. But when that happens, chances are you're concentrated or you're in a state of samatha. And so this is fundamental. It's like the samatha, the samadhi leads to the samatha, which leads to the vipassana, which leads to the nibbana, leads to our awakening. So we need to cultivate the samadhi. We need to cultivate that concentration in order to realize the freedom. And, and I think about other religion, like religions, and I guess Buddhism is a religion of some sort. They do a lot of praying, which, if you pray and you focus on what it is you're praying about, probably you're going to realize a similar state of concentration. I mean, we even have it in Buddhism where we do the Brahma Viharas, the metta and the karuna mudita practices. This focuses the mind, and we're using words. In fact, I had a friend who just got back from a jhana retreat, and we're going to talk about, we're going to do this samadhi step probably over a period of 3 or 4 Sundays. Okay, no big hurry, because there's so much to unpack. But this friend of mine who I'm actually going to see next week in person, which will be really great. He just got back from a 2-month concentration retreat in Hawaii. and they had him using the phrases. That's how he focused the mind. That's how he achieved the unification of mind necessary to enter into the jhanas, which we'll talk about. It's an advanced level of concentration. Was using metta. And we do it at the end of each one of our Sunday classes. And I know many of the other Saladana, Chema, and others do it, at Martina, where we offer phrases to a benefactor, to ourselves, to a difficult person, to all beings. And at this jhana retreat, it was just to a benefactor, just focused on that. And then eventually just even dropped away the may you be. And he said it just became the word happy, well, safe. And he just said it over and over and over again, 24/7, until eventually his mind was so unified, he let the words go. And then boom. He said he was in states of absorption for a month. I tell you, I have muchísimas ganas to go to this place and practice. We'll see if I can pull it off. Anyways, this is an essential part of our practice, of our path. If we want to be liberated, if we want to be free from suffering, then we need to have a certain amount of concentration, a certain amount of stability in the mind, stillness in the mind. Otherwise, our mind's it's like an unruly animal or something, or, it's just going to go wherever. And if your mind is anything like mine, it does not gravitate towards wholesome things. It usually gravitates towards worry, planning, regret. Unfortunately, my regret is a little less than it used to be, but that was such a good one. This is my mother, if only I had not done blah, blah, or if only I had done blah, blah. That's just a form of we can't change the past. Anyway, so that's what we'll talk about over, the next 3 or 4 weeks. Meanwhile, maybe we'll do a little walking meditation, which also just to add to the value of this surprised me. But my friend who went on this 2-month retreat, for the first more than a week, most of his meditation was walking. So he was walking and saying the phrases at the same time. Something I'd never heard of before, but quite intrigued by that. But we're not going to get that complicated yet. For those of you who might be new to the walking meditation, we'll do it for about 6 minutes. And the idea is that these are our feet, my 2 fingers here. And so our attention, our object now is the contact of the foot with the ground, like this. So we just pay attention to our feet touching the ground. Again, a very relaxed attention, just feeling it. And maybe pick a camino of 2 meters. In Saladana, you guys are not so many today, so you could pick 3 meters if you want, or more. And then we consciously as well, with mindfulness, we turn around, we walk back. You can use labels, stepping, turning. You can also pay attention to your breath if you want to, and unify the inhaling with a step, exhaling with a step, inhaling with a step. And just like in the seated meditation, when the thoughts come, and of course they will, then we just try to let them go, redirect the attention back to the feet. I have heard one teacher had suggested even stop if you want. When you notice you're thinking, stop walking, let the thought go, and then start walking again. So see, I'm in a very small, I got 2 meters, so I'm going to do it as well. And at 6 minutes, the phone will ring, and okay, bye, Denise. Hope to see you soon. Feliz año. So we'll let our timer decide when 6 minutes comes. And, by the way, if you want to just keep on sitting, that's fine too. You don't have to do the walking. Well, thank you all for your practice and for coming back. Most of you, I think we lost one. I don't know if you're able to pick up some of the noise from this hotel motel where I'm staying, but so far I think all the talking has been in Spanish, which is quite nice. But it's because I think I'm less than 100 kilometers from the Mexican border with the United States, and so there's quite a number of Spanish speakers around. So I thought I would do, and I've overextended. They want me out of here. In fact, they called, I think, why aren't you leaving? So I was going to end a little bit early, maybe 5 minutes before the hour. But what I thought I would do is just kind of get us started on this vast topic of samadhi. Beautiful topic, by the way, I think. And in part because there are a variety of points of view around it. You know, it's not like the whole world agrees, okay, samadhi means this and it's for this and so forth. Now, I always draw upon Joseph Goldstein's Mindfulness book, and I intend to do that as well. But I also picked up a new book that just came out by a neuroscientist as well as a practitioner. And for my causes and conditions, for some reason, I'm impressed if the guy has PhD or the gal after her name, you know, and studies the mind from a scientific point of view, as well as studying it from a meditative point of view. I love the two of those. And when they seem to come together and agree, I really like that. It's like, okay, well, that must be true then, right? If we can see it in meditative practice and we can also see it with scanners and, you know, different modern technology, then that's a good thing. Doesn't mean that it's true. It's just that I like it and seem to think it's true. So this book that I just started is called, let's see if I can show it to you. If I push that, what happens? No. Wonder how I can get the cover. Oh, here we go. All right. Is it back? Is it mirror imaged or is it, you could see it? Mind illuminated. Mind illuminated. Right? So this guy, John Yates, who also has a spiritual Pali name, Kuladasa. So I think he was a monk actually for some number of years. It's a complete meditation guide integrating Buddhist wisdom and brain science for greater mindfulness. It's like he's talking to me, right? I like brain science and I like Buddhist wisdom. Okay, so what I'm going to pull from here is his definition. So I like using the Pali words because there isn't really one European word that translates to a Pali word or a Sanskrit word. You know, they might have similar roots. I mean, even Spanish is an Indo-European language, as is Sanskrit, but the Pali words seem to be richer. You know, they seem to be more specific, more precise. And so we have to use, for instance, in English, sometimes 5 or 8 words to cover one Pali word. So there's certain Pali words that we just use, like dukkha. Like you've probably heard of dukkha. We say dukkha, which can mean suffering, it can mean stress, it can mean all these things in between. It can mean irritation, it can mean many things, but just say dukkha, kind of get the message, right? Nibbana being another one. And so he goes through the essential terms that we've been studying with these 7 factors, and he gives the definitions. And so I thought I would share them to you. This is also a new machine for me, and I got to figure out how the heck to use it. I think it's in here at the very beginning. I'm going to get it up on the computer so I can share it with you guys one of these days. Where did you go? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, the idea behind Buddhist practice is the end of suffering, right? And we often call that awakening. Literally, the Buddha means the awakened one, the one who is awake. And so that's the idea, is to move towards this awakening, which will result in the end of suffering. So he talks about samatha. The definition he gives for that is tranquility or calm abiding. Right? So tranquility or calm abiding, calm inhabiting. Vipassana, he agrees. This is one word that in English we tend to just use insight, and that's probably a pretty good definition. In Spanish, there isn't a good definition that's linear like that, and so there are some Spanish speakers who are even pushing for insight to just be adopted by Spanish speakers. Okay, so la idea es para practicar la insight. Algo así, ¿no? Samadhi, which is usually the word you see in these different factors, 7 factors of awakening. It's the 6th factor, the 8-fold noble path. It's the final factor. Samadhi, he calls it concentration or stable attention. A stable attention, okay? So we have, our attention is not rocking. It's able to stay with the object for some period of time. It's stable. And then sati, which is mindfulness, generally translated as mindfulness, sati. And these things all come from the anapanasati, the mindfulness of the breath that we've been working on, or the 4 foundations of mindfulness, of which the anapanasati is within that. Okay, so this guy says that samatha, this calm abiding, this tranquility, and vipassana, this insight, are both generated using samadhi, stable attention. So we cultivate the stable attention in order to generate the samatha, calm abiding, and the vipassana. If you don't mind, let me just tell them that I need a few minutes. Oh. Yeah, you had said I could stay till noon. I'm teaching a class right now on Zoom, so can I just have it till noon? Thanks. Okay, hopefully that was wholesome speaking. That wasn't too brusque with him. Okay, so samatha and vipassana are both generated using stable attention, samadhi, and mindfulness, sati. So just to, and for some of you, this is just going to be a continuous review when I do this. And for others like me, I need to hear it maybe 100 times or 50 times or 25 times. Mindfulness is a form of attention that has a characteristic of kindness to it. And it's an attention where we don't cling, we don't grasp, we don't push away, and we're not confused about what it is that we're doing. Okay, we're clear that we're just paying attention. And some people would say, because it really does come from a part of our brain that generates this, we're paying attention with some compassion, with some kindness. And it could be to anything, could be to our own body. I did this wonderful meditation practice over the holidays where I offered metta to my body parts. May my arm be happy and relaxed. May my torso be happy and relaxed. That's kind of the idea, where we're paying attention, but with a kindness, with like an empathy or a compassion. This is mindfulness. Just paying attention to something where we want to do it harm, let's say, like trying to shoot an animal with a gun. Even though we're concentrated, we're paying attention. This is not mindfulness. Okay? The intention is beautiful, wholesome, caring, loving, compassionate, to be mindful. So we have that, and then we have the samadhi, which we have the stable attention. We need both in order to achieve this calm, abiding, tranquility, and the insight, which are essential to achieve the nibbana, the awakening. So I see a couple people. Pilar, thank you for nodding their head, kind of like that made some sense, or it's like a little package, right? That we can all hopefully grasp. So I'll show just briefly, just have a couple more minutes. I'm going to show you just a little page out of Joseph's book. Try to find what I best wanted to do, and then I'll share it with you. Okay, so I'm going to pick one really short. I've got a new system too, where if it's highlighted in blue, it's a quote, what we believe that the Buddha said, right? And if it's highlighted in yellow, it's just something that I chose from the book. And somebody else said. But so this allegedly came from the Buddha. For one who is concentrated, one knows and sees things as they really are. I mean, that's a powerful, it's very short, but a very powerful pitch, cell for concentration. I'm going to go backwards just for a second here, talking about these jhanas. For those of you who might be interested in this particular topic, I intend to talk about it. Okay, it's not something that I personally have fully experienced yet, but it's still on my bucket list. I'm not giving up. I do know a number of people who can and have, and of course there's a lot of literature on it, and there may be some of you who can achieve it very easily. Others maybe not so much. It's one of those things where if you have a natural tendency towards concentration, it can come quite easy. If you don't, like mine, very distracted, it can be maybe not even possible, or at least more challenging. And the beauty behind it, or the reason why the Buddha taught it, is because it is such a unified state of mind. We can really pierce through the ignorance and see things as they really are. It's like it's so deep and focused that there's no confusion. Again, going back to my friend, and I'm going to ask him, he's busy, but I'm going to ask him to lead us on a Sunday. I don't know if he has, I think he has maybe once before, possibly, but anyways, to talk about his experience. Maybe we'll end this section with a Sunday with him. But he said after about 6 weeks of the jhana, the teachers wanted them to switch to Vipassana. And he didn't want to. He was having so much fun with the jhanas, he didn't really want to go to Vipassana. But he said once he did, he experienced the inside of Vipassana like he had never experienced it before, where everything was so clearly impermanent, anicca, everything is changing, everything is decomposing. It was at a level far beyond what he'd ever imagined. And we're going to talk about what if you can't, what if like me, and there's even an abbot of a monastery in California where he can't even get to jhana. Some of us can't. It's whatever reason, there's just an obstacle that's too formidable. We can't get past it. But then, that existed back at the Buddhist time too. And they talked, I think they called it dry samadhi or dry vipassana. There's something like that. I'll get to exactly what it was. But it's those that are generating the necessary insight for awakening, but without the jhana. So usually the path goes through the first 4 jhanas. There are 8 total. The first 4 leads, you go into samadhi, into the jhanas, into vipassana, hopefully resulting in awakening, nibbana. But for some people, they can't get into the jhanas, so they do what's called this dry vipassana, or maybe it's dry jhana, something like that. I'll figure out exactly what it is next time. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Is there anybody who would like to say something, has a question or a comment, or even off this topic of samadhi, if you have a question about your practice at home? Yep. Yes, Gore.
I was of gold recommended.
Gore, for some reason, I can't hear you so well. Can other people hear Gore? Or okay, no. Maybe get a little further back from your computer a little bit.
Now?
Go ahead, try again.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, now, yeah.
The video of Goldstein that you did on mindfulness. I mean, that is the topic of today. And he talks about things which I find very interesting that you need to do in order to reach really mindfulness. In other words, was to be present, but it wasn't just to be present. He recommended, he had to, well, he said, but he said to continue on the path towards mindfulness, you have to be aware that you are present.
Yes.
I understood, but I also did not understand how practically one would be able to achieve that, to be aware of being present. That's what you could insight into.
Okay, well, I'll give a short, just my initial response answer, just because the time is kind of short. But even being aware that we're aware, or aware that we're in the moment, present in the moment, is a mental faculty that we can develop. It's like a strength, a habit, where we change the mind, which wants to do its habits, but it's malleable. We get it to change, and more we are aware that we're aware. We're in the moment. And when we're not, it also becomes more obvious. Oh my gosh, I was spaced out for the last 2 minutes, or even the last 10 seconds. We start to just become, through practice, more aware of these different states as they arise. And it's just like anything. I mean, I love using the learning of foreign language as an example, because I arrived to Spain almost 7 years ago with very limited Spanish, but I managed to use some Spanish through practice. Simply that. I could read a bunch of books, wouldn't have made a bit of difference, but it was the practice of doing it, speaking it, hearing it, that finally started to change these crusty old brain cells of mine. And then I started to know a few words in Spanish. Same thing with awareness. Exactly the same, I think. It's just keep on doing it, poco a poco, and then it starts to become more obvious. So I'll leave it at that for now, but Gaur, anytime you want to talk to me off camera or whatever, just let me know. So why don't we real quickly, because I don't want them to yell at me, why don't we do a little metta practice to end? And then I hope to see you all again next Sunday. I'll probably still be in California, but we'll continue to talk about this topic, and we'll have a little more time. I'll be hopefully in my own space. So anyways, let's do a little metta to end. And for those of you who are not familiar, which I think everybody is, this is where we're offering phrases to ourselves and to others, wishes really, desires for them to be well, for us to be happy. And again, it's a cultivation. It's a bhavana. It's a practice. Starting with I, starting with me, yo. May I be happy. So to say this mentally to yourself, you can use your own language, other phrases if they're better for you. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be safe. May I live with ease, right? Ease and comfort. And now a benefactor. So that's somebody you really love unconditionally or admire unconditionally. Could be a family member, a pet, public figure, the Buddha. My friend ironically chose Joseph Goldstein. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you live with ease. And now the difficult person. So bringing to mind somebody maybe hurt your feelings or you have a little resentment towards. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you live with ease. And now all beings, in all directions, without exception, may all beings be happy. May they be well. May they be safe. And may they live with ease. And then to end our session today in the tradition of renunciation, letting go, generosity, dana, offering up the fruit of our practice, the teachings, our Sangha, and our Buddha nature. Offering these up to the benefit of all beings. May all beings be happy and peaceful, healthy and strong, safe and protected. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, free from war and violence, discrimination, racism, and free from coronavirus. And may all beings find their practices, their path that lead to the end of suffering. May all beings be free. So thank you all very much for coming. Thank you for your presence, the goodness of your practice. I hope 2022 is a fabulous year. I mean, might be a weird one again, but hopefully keeps getting better. Just to mention a couple things real quick. So as you know, at Saladana and wherever we are connected to Saladana, we are doing everything on the basis of generosity in terms of our economics. So we're not charging for any classes. We offer everything freely. And this is the tradition that goes back 2,600 years in the Buddhist tradition. And you also can practice generosity. And again, it's a practice and it feels better, I assure you, over time. In fact, the Buddha used to teach it first because he thought people would connect to it first. On our website, saladana.org, you can just click the, I believe it's donativo button, or I think is what it says. And there is an account where you could do a transferencia or a BISM, I think is what it's called, BISM or BISM. And then for those of you present in Saladana, you can leave a financial donation if you're willing in the box in the entrada there. You can also help us clean up. And if you see anything, kind of out of place, it's meant to be for our Sangha, right? It's not just like it's mine or just a few people. It's for all of us. And we're also very interested in people who want to volunteer. We've had some wonderful volunteers. Martina, for instance, tonight being our tech person. And we had Lindsay helping with the website. She's done a fantastic job. Damien with the Biblioteca. This stuff is just really appreciated. Yeah, and I don't know, maybe in Saladana, the people presencial are going to go out for some vegetarian food. But meanwhile, so good to see you all, and I look forward to seeing you again on Sunday, next Sunday. And have a good week. Thank you all.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Bye, Pilar. Good to see you, Carlos, Carmen, Lara, Mariana, Emilio, Gore, and bye, Sal.